guys? Episode 480, Evolutionary.org podcast coming your way. Stevesmi and the Rickster, Ricky V. Rock. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there? Today, we got a great episode. So I have a podcast that I do on my own, and I'll have people come in and I'll interview them. It's elitefitness.com. And then on the top right, you'll see podcast. So elitefitness.com, click on the podcast button. It's a podcast that I do one episode a week, a lot of guests, a lot of reading all by myself. And today I wanted to listen to with Steve here and you guys to a series that I did 3 episodes back to back, Elite Fitness episode number 7, 8, and 9. It is 39 Anavar results. There's an article on Elite Fitness, very popular article from back in the day called 36 Anavar results. I believe it was George Spellman himself at the time that wrote it. I always thought that was a pretty cool, interesting article. And over this whole podcast, I read all of the 39 results that Mr. George Spellman wrote for the website. And then I add my own comments in. It's a nice, long piece of information all about Anavar. So elitefitness.com podcast, episode 7, 8, and 9. I'm ready to get it going. How about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to this again. I've listened to it quite a bit a while back, and I want to definitely listen to it again. That's one of the things I like about these rehash episodes. Even if you listened to them before, listening to them a second time, you pick up things that you didn't pick up the first time. You gain knowledge. It's just repetition, you know? So listening to a podcast a second time, sometimes you pick up very crucial information that way. So I highly recommend, even if you've listened to it already, listen to this one again. You'll get some really good information on Anavar. I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah, guys, without further ado, actually, there is a little bit further ado. Anavar, guys, great stack with Anavar, mentioned on the last episode, N2Sling, guys, N2Sling.com. Please check it out. There's all the info you're ever going to need about N2Sling. It's N2Sling.com. We're going to add some links to N2Sling at the end of this podcast, the description. So if you need to find out some more information. Also, guys, if you're going to take Anavar, N2Guard, N2Guard.com, N2Guard to go right along with that Anavar. It's what I designed it for, guys. 10 years ago, almost going on 11 years now, 11, 12 years. We've had N2Guard on the shelf now. The formula has been updated a couple of times. We added Tutka when it became widely available, and we could add it in. We've replaced items that the FDA has had issues with better items. It's 44 ingredients, 7 capsules per day dosing. Guys, your blood test results will speak for themselves. If you want to know what N2Guard can do for you, take blood results after taking a whole bottle for a month. If you're on TRT, if you got a good script from your TRT doctor and you want to make sure you keep your bloods nice and clean so that your doctor won't pull you off, won't hold back part of that script you really want, N2Guard, guys. N2Guard, your blood test results will prove it. And look, right along with Anavar. Now, without further ado, guys, let's get on to Anavar results. 39 different results. Read them out. My commentary, episodes 7, 8, and 9, elitefitness.com. Here we go. Anavar is one of the best bodybuilding drugs for those looking to cut body fat without losing any precious muscle mass. But what else can you expect from Anavar as far as results? Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ricky V. And today we have episode number 7 of the Elite Fitness podcast. And this is a real special episode because this is going to extend over 3 podcasts. So this is podcast number 7 and then podcast 8 and 9. All will be about the same topic. And what do I have for you guys today? 39 Anavar cycle results, some of which stump bodybuilders. So there it is, guys. There's a very popular article on the elitefitness.com website. And I'm going to go over this article for you guys over the next 3 podcasts. It is 39 different Anavar results. After each of the different 39 sections, I'm going to offer my commentary. If I agree, most likely I'll move on. If I am in disagreement, I will go ahead and tell you guys what I think if I disagree with the article that I'm going over for you at all. If you'd like to read this article, go to elitefitness.com/articles/ 39-Anavar-Cycles-Results. That's a long one, ain't it, guys? Well, also make sure to subscribe to this podcast. That way you don't miss the next 2 episodes. It'll be downloaded right to your phone, and you'll get alerted when the episodes are ready. So if you're on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, however you're listening to this podcast, make sure to subscribe. So that way you'll be able to get the next 2 podcasts coming. Also, guys, if you would like some more information specifically about Anavar, you have to check out my Anavar book. I wrote this book about Anavar. I ran a short 4-week Anavar cycle, 50 milligrams a day, and I documented all of my process and my results on this book. So you got to come check it out. The book will be dropping soon. There will be a discount for guys that pick it up early. So please make sure to go to anavarbook.com. That's anavarbook.com. When you go to anavarbook.com, you'll get to a page that's either going to ask you for your email, or you'll get to the Facebook page where you'll be able to just follow the Facebook page and get a great deal on picking up this book. Now, this will be a book that you can download or get a hard copy of. The hard copy will be available for sale at needtobuildmuscle.com. That's needtobuildmuscle.com. We will have the hard copy available. And if you want to download it, you'll be able to also access the book on Amazon and all these other platforms. But go to anavarbook.com. It's a book specifically about Anavar that I wrote for you guys with some pretty specific instructions on use. So yeah, very special episode today, guys. Very special article, 39 Anavar cycle results. So without further ado, let's get started. Anavar, which is only known by its drug name Oxandrolone, or simply VAR, is an anabolic steroid that's become widely popular among bodybuilders. Searly Laboratories developed Anavar in the 1960s to help regrow muscle in patients with diseases that caused involuntary weight loss. But Searly discontinued production of Oxandrolone amid bad publicity from bodybuilders using the drug. Luckily, other companies have picked up the production, and bodybuilders are still using this methylated steroid to experience insane strength gains, dissolve body fat, and to harden their physique. That being said, let's look at 39 incredible results that you can achieve through an Anavar cycle. Number 1, accelerated fat loss with good diet. The primary use of Anavar is cutting, meaning bodybuilders use VAR to help them lose weight quicker while also maintaining lean muscle mass. Now, it must be mentioned that one shouldn't run an Anavar cycle and expect it to provide dramatic results when they're 25% body fat and making donuts a staple of their diet. But if you're already in shape, eating clean, and training hard, then you can expect some pretty impressive fat loss. Want evidence? In 2004, a study revealed that this drug can reduce total body fat even without exercise. However, don't expect VAR to have quite the fat-burning capabilities of clenbuterol or ephedrine. So yeah, guys, as a side note, Anavar is probably the most popular steroid for cutting aside from Winstrol. Those two are probably the ones people look to the most for cutting. They don't aromatize, so there's no water retention issues with them. They're really good at keeping your body from catabolizing the muscle during a caloric deficit. As far as Anavar actually really burning fat, in individuals that are not trained, chances are it might actually do something. There's similar studies that show the same thing with testosterone and other androgens. So to a non-trained individual, yeah. If you're already a bodybuilder and you're training hard, you need to continue to do that in order to see any kind of results with Anavar. Number 2, muscle gains in women. It is often said that Anavar for women is like testosterone for men. Going further, women can use Oxandrolone to gain lean muscle, which is pretty interesting when you consider that it has little mass building effects on guys. And with the proper Anavar dosage, about 5 to 20 milligrams, women can also expect to use this drug without worrying about virilization. In other words, developing male sex characteristics. Yeah, guys, I support that. I mean, I say it on the podcast all the time. The only steroid any female should even consider using is Anavar. That's it. And if Anavar can't get you where you need to go, then you're probably some really high, top-level competitor working with a coach, and you're not asking for my opinion then. But for most women out there, I just want to have above natural muscle tone, maybe some influencer on IG or anything, just wants to look good, Anavar is all you should really consider. Moving on. Number 3, no aromatizing side effects. One of the best Anavar results is actually something that doesn't happen. Aromatization. That's what the conversion to estrogen is called. As Wikipedia explains, because Oxandrolone doesn't aromatize, users don't have to worry about estrogen-related side effects like gynecomastia and water retention. So guys can cut fat and increase strength all without needing a bra afterwards. Yeah, it doesn't aromatize, no estrogen-related issues with it. However, it can raise estrogen slightly. How? Well, Anavar is going to compete with your own testosterone for androgen receptors in the body. And if you take enough, right, we're talking to men here, if you take enough Anavar, it is going to outcompete some of your testosterone or for androgen receptors, which will cause a slight raise in free testosterone, which can also cause a slight raise in estrogen. It doesn't happen with everybody, but guys who do report having higher than normal estrogen on Anavar, well, this is why. It's not the Anavar doing it. It's just your own testosterone, more of it free roaming around, being aromatized. Number 4, gains that stay. If you check out many Anavar reviews, you'll find that this drug offers very good long-term gains. Specifically, the small, lean muscle gains and impressive fat loss that's seen through Anavar results won't simply disappear after a few weeks as long as you run good post-cycle therapy. That's called PCT. Contrast this with other drugs like Dianabol and Anadrol, which don't usually deliver keepable gains. Yeah, guys, it's pretty simple. I mean, you don't gain a lot of mass on Anavar, but whatever you do gain, you should have no trouble keeping as long as you continue to train hard and stimulate the muscle lifting weights. As far as fat loss, since Anavar is not killing your appetite or acting as a stimulant for the central nervous system, once you discontinue the use of Anavar, you should not see a bounce back in that weight. You should not see a bounce back in hunger or a slowdown in your metabolism the way you usually would when you use any sort of a stimulant fat burner or any kind of appetite suppression agents. Anavar side effects do exist, but they are overshadowed by the gains. Number 5, mild side effects, especially for an oral steroid. As I mentioned in point 3, this drug doesn't convert to estrogen, meaning there are fewer Anavar side effects to worry about. VAR doesn't have much effect on blood pressure, nor does it cause harm to the liver at lower doses. The latter is very interesting, since Oxandrolone is an oral steroid, most of which are hard on the liver. Some potential Anavar side effects that you should be aware of include mild suppression, acne, hair loss, and nausea. Additionally, be aware that your lipid values will drop as well. When the article is referring to mild suppression, it's referring to the suppression of your natural testosterone production. So yeah, the side effects for Anavar are mild, but it does have side effects, and it does affect your liver. It's my personal belief that it probably affects your liver way more than most articles out there will lead you to believe. Number 6, you'll break through plateaus. If you've reached a sticking point where your physique and can't seem to harden your muscles and or drop the extra pounds, then Oxandrolone is perfect for giving you that extra boost. So anybody who's been in the gym for 7, 10 years should definitely consider an Anavar cycle. However, don't run a cycle when you're 50 pounds overweight and looking for a magical way to overcome your Wendy's obsession. Yeah, I mean, this is a good point. I mean, if you've reached a sticking point, any steroid will get you unstuck. That's just how it is. Now, if you've been in the gym for 7, 10 years and you've been using other steroids, you're going to find Anavar quite mild in comparison. Once you've graduated to doing higher dosing and other steroids, you're going to find that dollar per dollar, Anavar is not that good. That is, if you're already experienced, if you already have a good bit of muscle mass you're holding on to, if you're already at the top level and you have access to other drugs, dollar per dollar Anavar may not be your best purchase unless you're prepping for a show. and you need to get really, really low in weight. I've said this before on the Evolutionary Radio podcast. You don't really begin to notice that big difference between an Anavar or a Turinabol or a Winstrol. You don't really notice that big difference until you get under 10% body fat. Once you get under 10% body fat, you'll notice that difference. But if you are in the teens in body fat or you're a fat guy, you're not going to see the difference in your physique on a day-to-day basis the way a guy in single digits would. So really, it's a good. So yeah, number 6, I agree with, but same is true for other steroids, not just Anavar. Number 7, your diet will be greatly enhanced. Continuing on the last point, one great thing about Anavar is that it truly enhances the benefits you get from already eating clean and controlling calories. The end result will be your diet is on, well, steroids. I agree. Anytime you use any anabolic steroid, it'll stop catabolism. And catabolism is a problem because you don't want to lose that muscle mass as you restrict your calories. So anytime you go in a caloric deficit, you're going to lose some muscle mass. It happens. Now, guys who use steroids during their caloric deficit diets tend to lose way less muscle mass because the anabolic steroids are going to stimulate the muscle to continue to hold on to that protein even on a caloric deficit, and is going to stop some catabolizing hormones from breaking the muscle down. So it's true, but it's the same thing can happen with other steroids. You could cut body fat on a caloric deficit with a bulking steroid like Dianabol. You might gain some water mass while you're cutting fat, but once you discontinue Dianabol and the water retention goes away, you should have a pretty lean physique and be leaner than you were before you started. As long as you're in a caloric deficit, you will lose body fat, and any steroid will prevent catabolism. It's just how it goes. Number 8, dry gains. Anavar results are certainly not geared towards mass building like crazy bulk. However, this doesn't mean you can't experience some muscle gains thanks to Oxandrolone. And when you do get these gains, they'll be dry since there's no water retention involved with Anavar. Contrast this to other oral steroids like Dianabol, where you can rapidly gain weight, but much of it goes away post-cycle due to water retention. Yeah, Anavar does have some very dry gains, and like I stated earlier, whatever you gain on the cycle, as long as you continue to train and eat right, eat enough protein, and train hard enough, you'll be able to keep. That is, unless you're a huge monster with tons of steroid-created mass on you, then you need to be on year-round. All right, guys, so we're going to stop at number 8 for today. You need to catch me on the next podcast, which will be dropping in a week, episode number 8 of the Elite Fitness Podcast. And don't forget, if you want to follow me on social, see some of my pictures and some of my other content, as well as podcast, follow me at bigrickrock.com, or you could go to rickyvrock.com. Also, Anavar. If you want more information about Anavar, go to anavarbook.com. That's anavarbook.com. All right, that's all for me today. Have a good one, guys. All right, guys, and this is the legal disclaimer. I am not a doctor, especially not your doctor. So do not take any of the drugs that I mentioned in this podcast without first consulting with your physician and getting a script. Most of these drugs are illegal, and you might be breaking the law. So make sure to check locally and see if you're going to get in trouble over this. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ricky V, and today we have episode number 8 of the EliteFitness.com podcast. And this one is the continuation of the 39 Anavar results. We started this series on episode number 7 of the podcast. Now we're continuing in episode 8. We will finish up in episode number 9. So make sure to subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening. If you'd like more information about Anavar, make sure to check out my book. Go to www.anavarbook.com. This 3-part series on Anavar is based on a very popular article on the EliteFitness.com website. The link to the article will be in the description of this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get started with part number 2 of 39 Anavar results. And we left off on number 8 on our last podcast, and now we're starting with number 9. Number 9, hardened physique. Continuing off on the last point, because the Anavar steroid is one that won't hold water, you can look forward to a very hardened, vascular physique after coming off the cycle. Number 10, immediate gains. When you buy Anavar, know that you'll be getting some very fast results. That's because, like many oral steroids, this drug begins producing results within the first week or two. And with the right training, you should notice a change in your physique within a week. Number 11, kickstarting a cycle. There are conflicting opinions on kickstarting a cycle, where you use a fast-acting drug to provide quick gains while waiting for the long ester steroids to take full effect. But some bodybuilders still like to kickstart with an oral steroid to provide immediate strength gains and muscle hardening. And if you're interested in doing so, VAR is one of the best for the job.
Just on a side note here, guys.
Longer-acting steroids, injectable steroids that have ester chains usually take a week or more to build up. So testosterone enanthate, trembolone enanthate, especially nandrolone decanoate or equipoise, any of those long esters take a good while to build up, guys. A lot of guys will use an oral kickstart the first 4 weeks, so they start making some progress. And then about 4 weeks in, it's about that time to get off the oral steroids because you want to protect your liver, obviously, right? And then when you get off of them, those injectables should have already kicked in. Number 12, finishing a cycle. Speaking purely about Anavar for men, it is pretty rare for guys to run an Anavar-only cycle. Instead, it's often introduced into other cycles at some point, especially towards the end. When used as a finisher, Oxandrolone can really clean up gains and make your physique look better while a long ester testosterone is kicking in. Guys, if you go to elitefitness.com/articles/ 39-Anavar-cycle-results. In the middle of the page, you'll see a chart where you can see a full chart of a recommended Anavar cycle. And yes, guys, some guys will use Anavar at the end of the cycle as they're coming off their other steroids, so that the Anavar helps them maintain their muscle mass as they're coming off. And say you're coming off of testosterone and maybe even dianabol from the start. Some of the steroids that maybe give you a little bit of bloating, do a little Anavar as you're coming off, and it'll help you make, as they used to say 20 years ago, quote unquote, solidify your gains, right? That being said, you're not really recovering. You're not going into post-psychotherapy until you get off the Anavar. So I can see doing Anavar for about 2 to 4 weeks at the very end of a cycle. Once you cut off your last injection. So after your last injection, you would start immediately Anavar, 4 weeks. About 4 weeks from then, the esters will be out of your system. You can have started going into PCT, into post-psychotherapy, your last week on Anavar. It's actually not a bad idea, but be conscious of your liver. Go to n2guard.com. That's n2guard.com. needtobuildmuscle.com, and pick up some of my N2Guard. Use the N2Guard. So if you start 4 weeks oral cycle, kickstart, you start the kickstart, use the N2Guard with the kickstart. You can use it during the middle, and then use it at the end. Use the N2Guard with the orals, and that way you can fit in 4-week kickstart, 4-week finisher, with a 4-week break in between with the orals, and that would be a really nice cycle if you wanted to do that much steroids. Moving on. Number 13, good results in different forms. We've mentioned several times that you'll find Anavar for sale in pill form. However, you can also buy liquid Anavar, and it's often sold at research chemical sites, which, as the name implies, sell drugs for research purposes. Given that many bodybuilders are looking for Anavar for sale, they often purchase liquid Anavar to do their own quote-unquote research. Now, here's a whole section on Anavar cycle results for women. We're going to go over those now. Number 14, off-season muscle gains for women. Earlier, we touched on the subject of Anavar for women and how truly beneficial this drug can be for the fairer sex. It's also worth adding that ladies who are competitive bodybuilders or fitness competitors will truly appreciate using VAR in the off-season. The typical Anavar cycle for women consists of starting at 5 milligrams to 10 milligrams, depending upon experience, and then increasing or decreasing your Anavar dosage as needed. Number 15, athletic performance boost for ladies. Adding to the Anavar for women subject, this drug is great for female athletes looking for an edge. Considering the excellent strength and muscle gains that VAR produces to women, athletes will really appreciate it. Unfortunately, collegiate and professional sports league do not exactly endorse Anavar for women, so taking it is certainly risky for a drug-tested athlete. Number 16, no support PCT needed for women. For the ladies with questions on how to use Anavar, you'll be happy to know that you don't need to buy ancillary drugs like the guys do, nor do you need to run a post-cycle therapy. The one thing that some women do, though, is taper down at the end of their cycle and eat extra clean in the 2 weeks following the cycle. This is simply done to lessen their body shock when coming off the drug. So a side note for the ladies, N2Guard. You should be taking N2Guard to help your liver. Even if you don't have testicles that need to get recovered and you don't need something like HC Generate or N2 Generate ES, you should still be taking that N2Guard to protect your liver. Since you are a female and you're probably taking only 5 to 10 to 15 milligrams of Anavar per day, you can cut the N2Guard dosage in half. Take 3 to 4 capsules per day. That way the bottle will last you about 2 months. And since you're only doing 5-10 mgs of an oral, then you should be just fine. Number 17, gains on low doses for women. The typical Anavar cycle for women doesn't call for large doses, especially if you're a beginner. A good Anavar dosage for a new female user is between 5 milligrams and 10 milligrams per day, while most advanced ladies will top out at 15 to 20 milligrams. Either way, there's not a lot of product being used here. Ladies, a side note, you need less steroids to get the same results as men do. It is just the way we're built. So you don't need a lot. And like I said, since you're not taking the typical 40, 50, 60 milligrams a male would, then when you take the N2Guard as your liver support, as your organ support, you can drop that dose in about a half and save some cash that way. And also it's maybe not all that necessary to take the full dose if you're just using it for liver support. Now, if you're using the N2Guard as your own cycle, own steroids, daily multivitamin, daily multimineral, which it is as well, then just take the full 7. It won't hurt you to take the full 7. It'll be beneficial. I'm just suggesting you take half because if you're trying to save some money and maybe you're taking another multivitamin along with the N2Guard during cycle, then half of the N2Guard will provide enough of the ingredients for just regular liver support on a cycle of orals that's 10 to 15 milligrams. Moving on. Number 18, small gains on high doses for guys. Switching back to Anavar for men, these cycles get very expensive for a guy who's mainly relying on VAR for gains. Males will take upwards of 80 to 100 milligrams for an Anavar-only cycle. Given that guys stand to gain very little mass through a 6-week cycle of Anavar, it is best to stack Anavar with testosterone for bulking or with other cutting compounds for weight loss. That is, unless you want to go broke trying to buy Anavar online. Just a side note on that, guys. I just got done running a 4-week Anavar cycle at 50 milligrams per week. I didn't add any other steroids into the mix, but I took Entuslin to help enhance the effects of the Anavar. I took HC Generate ES to help boost my own natural testosterone and provide just higher testosterone to go along with the cycle. I took N2Guard, obviously, to help keep my organs healthy during the cycle. And I put your Hemflame EX around the areas that I was most looking to reduce. And the results were pretty incredible. Now, I have muscle memory. I've been training since I was 13. I'm going into 40 now. So I do have quite a bit of muscle memory. And my diet is pretty much close to perfect. So taking those things into consideration, my diet being pretty close to perfect and me taking some support supplements to go along with it, I was able to make pretty incredible progress in only about 4 weeks. I dropped about, I would say, a good 5 points of body fat in about 4 weeks. Did not use a bunch of stimulants, did not use any Clan or albuterol, mainly caffeine. And it went well. So just for you guys out there, if your diet is right and you take that Entuslin, the Entuslin helps as a nutrient partitioner. So while you're under steroids, most of the calories you eat will go into your muscle cells. It works great with steroids. It enhances everything you're trying to do. So if you want to see my results, go to anavarbook.com. That's www.anavarbook.com. Register there, and you will be one of the first guys to get a huge discount on the book when it's available. anavarbook.com. Number 19, PCT needed for guys. Because an Anavar cycle for men isn't very common and there aren't estrogen-related side effects, some bodybuilders consider it a joke when guys do use this drug on its own. Going further, they mistakenly believe that PCT isn't necessary after such a cycle. However, it is worth stressing that VAR is indeed a steroid, and if you happen to run an Anavar-only cycle, you should still consider PCT, especially at higher doses. So have some Clomid and HCG on hand for an Anavar PCT. HCGenerate.com, N2Generate.com. If you're worried about your testicles shrinking or worried about getting off this Anavar cycle and not being able to keep your results because you're not making as much natural testosterone as you were before the cycle started, make sure to use N2Generate. We used to call it HCGenerate, but we had problems with our credit card processor letting us use that name. So we've changed the name to N2Generate.com. You go there and that's the product you need. Number 20, stronger bones. Okay, so maybe you're in your mid-20s, drink your milk, and have very strong bones. But if you don't fit this description, then you can take comfort in knowing that one of the interesting Anavar results is better bones. This is a little surprise too when you consider that one of Anavar's original medical uses was to treat osteoporosis. Number 21, mild HPTA suppression. Unlike many steroids, Anavar causes relatively mild hypothalamic pituitary testicular axis suppression at low doses, meaning your testosterone production remains fairly consistent. Even still, Anavar side effects hit everybody differently, meaning you should consider running some HCG to prevent HPTA shutdown. Yeah, you know, guys, the reason I ran the HC Generate ES along with the Anavar is twofold, really. The HC Generate ES is going to help me keep that Anavar from suppressing my natural production. If anything, is going to raise my natural production above normal, even while on the VAR. So that means I'll make progress from both, from the higher testosterone levels and from the Anavar on top of that. Once I finish the Anavar cycle, I keep running the HC Generate ES for about 4 weeks after. That'll help me recover from the Anavar use. And then once I get off the HC Generate ES, I should be able to keep all of my gains because my natural testosterone production is a normal to high level. So this is very important to note, guys, when you stack the testosterone booster with it. Number 22, the drug is in you for a very short time. The Anavar half-life is 8 hours, which is one of the shortest of any steroid. That said, it won't be in your system long, and depending upon the cycle you're running, your Anavar dosage may consist of taking it 2 to 3 times per day. Yeah, Anavar you want to spread throughout the day. Some guys take it morning, afternoon, and night. I've heard guys taking it twice a day. Yeah, you want to spread out to get a good flow of it. So like, take your first tablet in the morning with a lot of water, and your last one at night right before bed with a lot of water, and you're good to go. In the middle, make sure you fit in your other dosing. And I think as long as you take one upon awakening and one before bed, and you spread the other ones out in the middle pretty close, you should be fine. You should have some good levels. Well, that's it for today, guys. So we're going to leave at number 22. We'll have the other 17 Anavar cycle results on our last and biggest show. If you want to see all of our episodes, make sure to go to elitefitness.com/podcast. If you'd like to follow me on social, see some of my pictures, read some more of my writing, see some of my other work, make sure to go to rickyvrock.com. That's RICKYV as in victory, ROCK.com. Make sure you follow me there. Friend me on Facebook too. I'm getting close to my friends cap limit, and once my friends cap limit is reached, I won't be able to friend anybody else. So friend me on Facebook now. If by the time you hear this, I've reached my cap, make sure to like my fan page. So RickyVRock.com. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I'll be talking to you again next week on next week's podcast. Please make sure to subscribe, whatever platform you're in. Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever you are. Just make sure to subscribe. All right, have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. I am not a doctor, so none of what I say should be regarded as medical advice. You must check with your own doctor before taking any supplements, starting any diet, or taking any drugs. Also, none of the supplements I discussed today are meant to cure or treat or diagnose any diseases.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ricky V. And today we have the final installment of the Elite Fitness Podcast 3-part episode about the 39 Anavar cycle effects. So please enjoy. Number 23, a big strength increase. This point has been touched on before, but it's worth reiterating that Anavar pills can definitely provide a very good strength increase. Obviously, this is dependent upon the individual. You're not going to break world bench records just because you do an Anavar-only cycle. But a 12-week study did show that even older men on Anavar experience significant increases in their own chest press, leg press, and lat pull-down exercises. Number 24, you get crazy pumps. Like most oral steroids, Anavar can give you some crazy pumps in certain muscle groups. Sometimes so bad that you can't even finish a workout. Obviously, this isn't one of the good Anavar results. So what you have to do is take some taurine if you're prone to harsh pumps. Number 25, recover from workouts faster. God forbid you be afflicted by the I can't finish my workout pumps that we just discussed. If you're not, then you'll find that, like many steroids, Anavar is great for helping you recover quickly. Some Oxandrolone users find themselves able to intensely work the same body part multiple times per week. Number 26, will land you in jail if you're caught. If you've ever asked yourself, is Anavar legal? We can give you a pretty simple answer. No. In most countries, including the United States, Anavar is a Schedule III controlled substance. Clearly, Anavar is illegal for recreational use, and you can be put in jail if you're caught using it. But the fortunate thing is that most feds aren't concerned with kicking down everybody's door to find a few Anavar pills, nor are they hell-bent on throwing somebody in jail for juicing to get a better beach bod. Guys, on a side note, Anavar can be easily had from a testosterone replacement therapy clinic. Very good, legit, human-grade, American-made Anavar. Be a prescription from a legitimate pharmacy. If at the time of listening to this, hit me up, RickyVRock.com, BigRickRock.com, AnavarBook.com, and if you ask, I'll give you a lead on a good TRT clinic where you can get Anavar prescribed. Number 27, reduction in abdominal fat. Assuming you've got a beer gut that makes Steven Seagal look like an IFBB pro, then an Anavar cycle isn't going to do a thing for you. However, if you're hoping to reduce belly fat just a little, then VAR isn't a bad choice. And you'll be pleased to know that a study in 1995 proved that Anavar can burn visceral fat in men with lower testosterone. Number 28, you'll bridge cycles. Bridging steroid cycles is a pretty controversial subject because doing so and not taking proper time off of all drugs can prevent your HPTA from functioning and recovering properly. Nevertheless, Anavar is a popular choice among serious bodybuilders who do bridge, since it gives the body a break from androgenic compounds. So a lot of guys that are going to
try to stay on year round, like even some pros, competitive guys, they'll use Anavar during their bridge when they're not really on heavy cycle. They'll use a dose of Anavar just to keep their muscle gains, just to keep their body from losing a bunch of muscle mass when they're taking some time off and cycling off a lot of the heavier steroid cycles. Number 29, your cardio won't be affected except by insane pumps. Some cutting drugs like clenbuterol can have a negative impact on a bodybuilder's cardio ability. Luckily, Oxandrolone isn't like this, and you can do as much cardio as you feel like on Anavar. That is, unless you're suffering from the severe muscle pumps that were discussed before. Calves can especially be sensitive to these pumps that make cardio sessions hard to finish. Number 30, big benefits when running with testosterone. It feels like it's been mentioned a dozen times so far that Anavar-only cycles are not highly popular among most dudes. So if you fall in line with the majority, then consider that you can get far more muscle gains and strength by using testosterone as a base to your cycle and then stacking Anavar on top of it. Yeah, guys, I mean, 2 steroids are better than 1. More dosing, higher dosing, you're going to get better results. Obviously, most people's results will begin to level off after about 1,000 milligrams of combined steroids per week. Some guys claim that I'm still making gains, bro. Still making gains, bro. Taking 2,000 milligrams a week, 3,000. Yeah, right. Once you hit about 1,000 milligrams, most people's results begin to level off. At least people with normal to average genetics that can do well with the sauce. If you've got freaky genetics, you blow up huge on 500-700 mgs. If you have shitty genetics, do 2 grams a week of steroids and still look like shit. Look like you barely work out. Number 31, you'll get renewed motivation. The best time to run an Anavar cycle is not when you're 40 pounds overweight and just learning how to use the hamstring curl machine, but rather when you've been training seriously and are slowing on gains. If you're lacking motivation due to lessened strength and muscle gains, then you can really kickstart things in the gym with Anavar. Yeah, guys, Anavar, it's really, if you're just a big fat guy, you need to get your diet in order first, training in order first before you throw steroids on top, then don't mess with it. It's really a good finisher. If you're really in the low teens in body fat and you're trying to break into the single digits, photo shoot, show, vanity, whatever, family picnic, company gathering, whatever it is, Anavar will help really get you there, but you've got to be right in good shape to begin with. 32. Truly defined muscles. A huge reason why people are so interested in Anavar the steroid is because it really cleans up muscle gains, no water retention, and adds a lot of definition. And this is excellent for guys who've added some mass but want a more defined, chiseled look. Number 33, get shredded for the beach. I'm so sorry to bust out the cliche, get ripped by summer subject that's so common with the fitness industry. However, given that Anavar's ability to help you maintain muscle gains during a cutting program, Anavar is a very good drug for beachgoers who need to drop some body weight before summer without sacrificing any of that lean muscle mass. Number 34, heal injuries. Anavar pills are commonly used by people to heal certain injuries and wounds faster than simple rest alone. Additionally, doctors sometimes prescribe Anavar and administer cortisone injections to help heal their patients. So if you've got an old weightlifting or sports injury that still isn't quite right, consider some Anavar. And yeah, guys, if you go to a TRT clinic, even if your testosterone levels are normal, you can actually get Anavar prescribed if you have some of these symptoms from old injuries. And even better if you got the paperwork, operations, or whatever to go along with it to give your new testosterone replacement therapy doctor, hormone replacement therapy doctor,
be able to get a nice script for Anavar, American-made stuff. 35. Better respiratory functions. A 1999 study proved that Anavar can reduce breathlessness in people afflicted with tetraplegia, which is paralysis that results in the partial or complete loss of using one's limbs and torso. Of course, endurance athletes might also find that they can improve respiratory functions through the use of Anavar. Number 36, you'll add speed. Speed kills in sports, and athletes are always looking to get faster. Oxandrolone isn't the top drug of choice for those looking to increase sprinting speeds. Winstrol is more popular, despite the joint pain. However, those who don't get hit hard by the crazy pumps can make some speed gains with Anavar, since it increases muscle performance without adding any weight, which is extremely important for any athlete in a weight class. Number 37, great body recomposition with a clean diet and hard work. Yes, we're going to reiterate one more time how important it is to not rely on drugs alone to better your physique. You can find plenty of Anavar reviews that preach how good it can be, but only when you're eating clean, training hard, and have been working out for years. Assuming you put in a strong overall effort, then you're going to get great results with Anavar. Number 39, your wallet will take a hit. When searching for Anavar for sale, you'll notice that the price can be relatively high, especially for experienced male steroid users. Given the price you see on Oxandrolone for sale, many guys question why they should buy such a mild steroid along with their bulking drugs. But based on the benefits that we've discussed, especially regarding Anavar for women, the case can also be made for shelling out the money if you really need it. Anavar is just a very nice, strong, unique steroid. You can run it standalone. You can run it along with a cutting cycle. It's probably the only steroid most women should use. Just an incredible all-around steroid. And yeah, it's very, very expensive. Number 39, nice for testing the steroid waters. Not everybody jumps into steroid use headfirst with 500 milligrams of weekly testosterone use. Assuming you're terrified of the side effects and just looking for a strength increase along with minimum bulk, then Anavar is certainly a good drug to try. Even still, don't neglect to do your research and run proper PCT after your Anavar cycle. For PCT products, go to hcgenerate.com. That's hcgenerate.com. Check it out, guys. All right, so that is number 39. That's it for me today. Keep checking us out. Subscribe to the podcast. We are on Spotify, on iTunes, Google Play. Just subscribe, guys. Make sure you don't miss the next episode, and I'll see you here next week. Have a good one.